Change is natural. If we're not changing, we're not living. But change is also very stressful. Anyone who has changed jobs or has moved, had a baby, or even adopted a puppy knows the stress of transition and change. Even a newborn baby moving from its mother's womb to the cold of the world has experienced the stress of change and transition. And one story of transition that's found in the Bible is when Elijah passes the mantle of authority to the junior prophet Elisha. And he just doesn't pass the mantle of authority, but he actually passes his cloak to the junior prophet. If you remember, Elijah and Elisha were two prophets whose stories are recorded in the books of Kings and Chronicles. And there was no one greater, more powerful, or more miracle-working prophets until the time of Jesus Christ. And their story is found in 2 Kings, chapter 2, 1 through 15, this story of passing the mantle. And I challenge you to read the entire story. It's just 15 verses this week. At the end of that passage is the translation of Elijah. And translation just means the bodily taking up of an individual into heaven. It's not the same as resurrection because they don't experience an earthly death. But this is the account of the translation. As they were walking along and talking together, suddenly a chariot of fire and horses of fire appeared and separated the two of them. And Elijah went up to heaven in a whirlwind. Elijah saw this and cried out, my father, the chariots and horsemen of Israel. And Elijah saw him no more. Then he took hold of his garment and tore it in two. Elisha then picked up Elijah's cloak that had fallen from him and went back and stood on the bank of the Jordan. He took the cloak that had fallen from Elijah and struck the water with it. Where now is the Lord, the God of Elijah? He asked. When he struck the water, it divided to the right and to the left, and he crossed over. The company of the prophets from Jericho who were watching said, the spirit of Elijah is resting on Elisha. And they went to meet him and bowed to the ground before him. Now, what we need to take note of is that before the translation occurred, Elijah, the older, said to Elisha, the younger, tell me what I can do for you before I am taken from you. Elijah is being translated into heaven. This is a huge change for him, a huge transition. Yet Elijah's focus is on his successor. That's amazing. When we're going through transitions, do we focus only on ourselves or do we focus on others? What we need to take note of as well is Elijah's response. Elijah responded, let me inherit a double portion of your spirit. Elijah's focus is on serving in the same manner as his mentor, Elijah. Elisha is about to go through a huge transition and a change, that his focus is on equipping himself to serve others in the same manner that Elijah served. And the last thing we need to take note of is Elijah's response to Elijah. In regard to his giving of the Spirit, he says, you have asked a difficult thing, because Elijah knows that only God can equip with the Spirit. That's something for us to remember as Christians when we're out sharing the gospel and doing evangelical work. We sometimes forget that we are not the ones who endow someone with the Holy Spirit. It is only God that can do that. So as we look at this story, we should be reminded that when we are going through a change or transition, we should ask for the guidance and direction of the Holy Spirit. We should seek to serve God during the transition. And we should act with positivity and trust. Change is natural, but change can be stressful. It is helpful to remember all change comes from God. And if you are no longer experiencing change, you are no longer really living.